Hello, and welcome to the School of Serenity. We are being broadcast today by Walk to Serenity and by 4M TV. We are a mental health initiative to bring mental health awareness beyond borders. This is a global international show, and we're here today to just share messages with you about how you can improve your life, your health, and your happiness. I am your host, Kara Kihm. I am an author, I'm a holistic therapist, and I'm an intuitive empowerment coach and energy worker. And I have a private practice helping women access the most empowered version of themselves. I wrote a book, Discovering My Wings, which details how my life radically transformed when I started following the voice of my intuition. And I help others access their own inner wisdom that is always available to them. We have an amazing show today, and I'm very excited to introduce Christina Becker. She is a certified eating counselor, a graduate of the Integrative Health and Lifestyle program I help at Arizona Center for Integrative Medicine, and a certified Hatha yoga instructor. Her mission is to empower people to achieve optimal health and well-being by guiding their wellness journeys with integrative, wholesome, and caring approach. Her approach is holistic in nature, influenced by science-based integration and functional nutrition medicine. Coaching methodologies, psychology, traditional healing systems such as Ayurveda and TCM, yoga philosophy, mindfulness, and positive body movement. You have quite an arsenal to help people, and you really help people with intuitive eating.
Correct. Yes. Amongst others, but that is a focus for me right now.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for being here today. We're so honored to have you.
Thank you for having me, Kim.
Yeah. And so tell us about your journey to stepping into this path and this career and all of these amazing accomplishments and integrative therapies that you use in working with
Mhm.
people.
Yeah. Well, my journey started actually in a different career. I studied dance a long time ago, and so I would say the dance training really taught me the importance of self-care
Yeah.
and creating also a healthy relationship with my body.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, as I was kind of still in the dance world, I had an injury. And so I decided to go back to school and I became a registered dietitian to help others to not only create a healthy life, but also have a healthy mindset around food and their body and learn how to nourish themselves on every level.
That word nourish really stands out as you say that, because
Mhm.
I feel like it is actually not a part of our culture, especially
Yes.
diet culture and exercise culture. We
Yes.
rarely hear the word nourish. So I love that you used that phrase as something that's important in your work and what you do.
Yes, absolutely. And I think even in my field, because it's always about, as a registered dietitian, now we study all the sciences and the body chemistry and biochemistry and all of these things. And it's about the nutrients that we need. But the word nourishment, I think, just came about more in the last decade or so, where we
Yeah.
all realize that even though we can pick the right foods because they have the right nutrients, is it
Mm,
really nourishing us, and what else do we need to function our best? And it's not only food, right? It is
right.
so many other. We want to nourish ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yes, 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 yes. A whole body approach to nourishment.
Yes.
Absolutely. That feels vitally important. And so tell us about being an intuitive eating coach and actually what that is, because I would love for our guests to know, I specialize in helping people with intuition, and that's sort of how we bonded. I would love people
Yes.
to know how they can nourish themselves through intuitive eating.
Wonderful. Yeah, maybe I'll start by explaining a little bit what intuitive eating is, because there is a bit of
Exactly.
confusion out there.
Yes.
Intuitive eating is, most people are familiar with mindful eating, and they're related, but intuitive eating is actually a science-based approach using 10 principles to help people have a healthier relationship with their food and body. And it's a non-diet approach. And it's seeking to reconnect people with their own body, their own needs, and their own wisdom to make their own decisions about food and other wellness needs versus relying completely on outside advice or outside structure that is kind of the thing of diet and fitness culture. It's prescriptions of you do this, you don't do that, that's good, that's bad, which in a way actually creates a very unhealthy mindset around these what was supposed to be healthy practices and creates more harm down the road.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. We have taken the wisdom away from ourselves and handed it over to others.
Yes.
We've sort of given our power away. And I think part of this new awakening that we are experiencing as humanity is taking our power back. And so it sounds like you really help people reclaim their power in this process.
Yes, exactly. And their own inner wisdom, because we all have it. It's just we're living in such a crazy busy culture. We have crazy busy, we have diet culture, we have fitness culture, we have all of these things that are distracting us from our own, own connection with ourselves. They distract us from us taking the time to ask ourselves, what it is that what am I feeling physically, emotionally, what's going on in my mind, and what is it that I actually need to function versus this is the one prescription, regardless of who you are, I'm going to follow it. And if I don't follow it, I'm not doing a good job.
Right. Yeah. And we are all individuals. We are all completely different. And I think in this diet culture, we're really told, stay away from gluten, stay away from dairy. I mean, there are these very rigid,
sugar.
Yes, there are these very, very rigid rules.
Yes.
And I went through my own personal healing crisis where my gut was completely inflamed. And everyone said, stay away from gluten. They gave me this list of everything to stay away from. I ended up getting a stool sample and a blood test, and grains are actually the least reactive for my body. They're the least reactive. And so we can't say that there's this one size fits all prescription, right? Because there's bio-individuality.
Absolutely.
And we're all so different.
Yeah.
So I love, yes.
And not only bio-individuality, I also call it life individuality. So even let's say as an example, if I work with a lot of different clients, some people are on paleo, some are on vegan diets. If you believe that the vegan or vegetarian diet is really, you do it because of ethical reasons, you love the animals, etc. Even if science comes and says eating meat all day long is the best thing for health, that wouldn't work for that person. And so I try to encourage people to really find out what it is, what is important to them, also what are their beliefs around food, bringing back maybe their cultural, ancestral food habits, because they're also part of who we are as a person. And to use the science, use it as information, but question it too. Like, how is it relevant to you? Is it going to help you? And once you try it, does it actually make you feel better?
Right. Yes. Because how we feel is what matters, right? It doesn't matter what all the experts are saying. Our gut is the expert. That's what really matters.
It is, yes.
At the end of the day. How do we feel after we're following these programs? Yes. And can you talk more, because you brought this up when we spoke, about culturally relevant foods? I would love to hear more about that.
Yes. So I think you already mentioned like diet culture, and just for those who are not familiar with the term, it's really just all the messages we hear on social media, in the movies, from friends, in the office. It's just like, oh, you have to be on this diet. Oh, did you hear this is bad? So this is diet culture. And usually diet culture is trying to tell you that there's something wrong with you and you need to change everything about the way you do things. So, remind me of your question. I got into a different.
The culturally relevant food and how that plays a role in health.
Exactly. So, most diet prescriptions would tell you, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, this is good for you, this is bad for you, stay away from that.
Yes.
And so I feel like I'm meeting a lot of people that have, let's take an example, rice. White
Mm,
rice, right, is a cultural staple food for probably more than half the world, for a very
wow.
large percentage of the world. And then we get all the messages, white rice is bad for you. So many people are coming to me and they put away with one of the most favorite foods of their diet, also what is culturally relevant to you. And then they are kind of left with this, and now what? They're going to fill it with other foods that some external person tells them, and it's not going to nourish them the same.
Yes.
It's also like kind of a bit of an emotional and energetic nourishment that we're getting from food. It's not just the nutrients.
Yes. Yes.
So I feel it's really important because people are so lost, so disconnected from themselves, from their culture, from their heritage. Bringing back some of these foods that are culturally relevant can be very healing and very
Absolutely.
grounding. Yeah.
Yes.
I can give you also an example. I also, a few years ago, I've always had gut issues. And at one point, it was very clear I needed to go off gluten. It was not my choice. I love gluten.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I had to. And I'm from Germany, as you might hear
Yes,
from
I
the
was gonna
accent.
say, I mean, I feel like Germany bread is such a staple.
It is very important. And for me, I love bread. And so I had to give up bread. And there was some time where I was really miserable because I was buying the store-bought, gluten-free bread, and it didn't satisfy me. It
Yep.
didn't nourish me. There was something missing from my diet, and I was looking for it in other places. I was going for gluten-free muffins and cakes, and I didn't even want that, but I was trying to fill the void.
Yes. Yes.
Right. And then actually I started making my own gluten-free sourdough bread.
Mm.
And that was not only the, making the bread and, the procedure of doing it, smelling it, but it actually tasted like the bread that I grew up with.
Yes.
And it brought so much happiness.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I stopped looking for like the gluten-free muffins and stuff. I didn't need them. I just had what
Yes.
I needed to feel nourished and grounded and connected also to my history.
Yes, which is so important because right now there's so much ancestral healing that is
Yes.
really needing to happen. And so
Mhm.
those foods that are part of that ancestry makes
Mm,
us feel more connected and more grounded. There
yes.
have actually been research and scientific studies that show if you believe the food is not harmful for you, like your body processes it
Mhm.
differently. Like,
Yes.
it's not processing it in the same way as if you believed it was harmful for you.
Exactly. And that is the problem with diet culture, right? If you're
Yes.
constantly berating yourself, "Ooh, I feel bad and guilty. I had a donut. I had this. This is bad for me. I shouldn't have ketchup." This is what you are thinking all day long. Imagine how it affects your body, because our mind, right? We know our mind, our gut and our mind are directly related. So
Yeah,
if you're constantly
absolutely.
telling yourself that something isn't good for you, it will have a different effect on your health.
It will. It
Absolutely.
will. It becomes this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
And we know that the gut and mental health as a therapist is a major player.
Mhm.
90% of our brain chemistry is made in our guts.
Mhm.
Serotonin, dopamine, all these things that make us happy are made in our guts. So what we believe about the food we're putting in directly affects our mental health. And the actual food we're putting in really affects the how we make those chemicals.
Yeah. And in a way, I would actually want to bring up a new phrase. So you're not what you eat, you are what you think about your food.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I agree. I love that. I
Mhm.
absolutely love that. Yes, it's
Yeah.
so true. And so I feel like the intuitive eating place
Mhm.
piece can really play a role in mental health
Yes.
because you're helping individuals reconnect with themselves. There's very much a link there.
Yes. And this is probably the main focus of the work. Maybe I'll just briefly also explain what I do with my clients when,
Yes,
I
I'd
teach
love that.
one-on-one and workshops and classes. So again, intuitive eating, it is science-based. It is not just another beautiful idea, even though it is beautiful in nature.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. So there are some aspects. So we have 10 principles. Some of them really work on the diet mentality. And I think the first step for people is to realize how many of your decisions come from diet thinking, from the food police, the good food versus bad food. And that's the first thing I work with my clients on, like kind of feng shui, that kind of diet thinking that is keeping you stuck in an unhealthy pattern, right? That's kind of one of the first things. A more practical thing is that we're also working on reconnecting with our body's signals, because if you're really slowing down and listening, your body will tell you when you are hungry, and there's different levels of hunger. It will tell you when you had enough, when you're full, when you're satisfied. Your body can also indicate what it is, right? Right now I feel like a nourishing, warm, soup bowl with rice, noodles, and chicken, or, I want a salad, or, I really want some chocolate right now, right? There is beyond the cravings, there is a wisdom to our body that can guide our food decisions. So we work on that interoceptive awareness, what it's called. We have to work through body image issues if there are any, because if you don't like your body, you will always go back to dieting.
It's so true. And I actually did an Instagram post about this. Just because we are healthy and we work out and we eat well doesn't mean that our specific bodies looks like people in magazines. And that I was at the lake and I had this moment where I'm in a bathing suit and I look down and I'm like, I am one of the healthiest people that I know. I'm very physically active. I love kale, like bowls. I just crave it. I love healthy food. Like it feels nourishing. I eat so well. And my ass is 1,000% cellulite. 1,000%, and I was like, so according to diet culture, like I do the things because I want to, not because of diet culture. I hope, I hope, but, and still like, we're not all supposed to be this hard sculpted. Like, it's just, that is such an unrealistic, idealized. And so I'm like, wow, I could see where somebody might think, well, what's wrong with me? I must be doing it wrong. I'm fit, I'm eating well, I'm doing all the things. I look down and I'm all cellulite, what happened here?
Yeah.
So
well, there's two things, right? First of all, it's like, where does the idea come from that we shouldn't have cellulite, which is, I don't know, 80-90% of women have cellulite. It's normal, whether you're a model or not. So, and this is really the impact of the industry. And I say industry because whether it is diet industry, fitness industry, beauty industry, most of the industries are trying to sell you things by telling you that you need them because you're not good enough or happy enough without them. Right. So whatever we consume, not food, media, marketing is really giving us these ideas that something is wrong. And this is why, it's once you realize that and you can let go of that, there is a freedom that is coming to you that is amazing. It's such liberation to say, no, I don't need to look like that. I don't need to do all these things. I'm going to go inside. I'll do what makes me actually feel good. And most people would be surprised. It's not going to be eating donuts all day long. That's not going to make you feel good.
No.
But, going in nature, taking some downtime, transition time, maybe meditating, spending time with your loved ones, simple things. This is really what nourishes us. And you don't need to spend half or most of your day worrying about what else you need to do to look better or do something better.
It's absolutely true. It's so true.
And then one thing I want to add, because you said, people that do things that are very healthy, there's also some people get really ill by trying to live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. Mind-blowing truth. It really is. And I don't think that we have awareness of that in our mindsets and in our culture. People get very, yes, it's so true. Thank you for saying that, because we think we're doing it right and we're doing the green juice and we're doing everything. And that's not what our bodies are needing.
No, exactly. And then when, again, it's not only the judgment of ourselves, but we have also, unfortunately, and I really struggle with that, created a culture where judging and commenting on other people's bodies, appearance, food choices has become normal. And it shouldn't be. You shouldn't tell other people, oh, why are you eating this French fries? This is, you shouldn't. Like these are things that we really have to kind of stop, because it is people's personal decisions and autonomy, and we want to honor that. So we need to start stepping back a little bit from that culture of judging, shaming. Yes.
We have a shaming culture. Yeah, we absolutely do. And so one thing you and I had talked about is that self-compassion piece. When we're living in this culture and we're getting shamed and we're told that our bodies don't look the way that they should, how do we have that self-compassion piece and step more into that self-love?
Yes. Well, I mean, for me, I always like to start with self-care and self-compassion when I teach classes or work with my clients, because I feel once you connect with that, the journey to free yourself from any unhealthy mindset or behavior, whether it's dieting or other things in your life, is going to become very organic.
Yeah.
Because everything you're going to then measure, if you can say measure it, against your own inner compass. Right? It's not about, again, because we need the external world, but we don't need to be run by it, especially if the advice and stuff comes from a non-self-loving place. You can always check, is this coming from a compassionate place? And if not, it's probably not good advice.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. 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 And knowing, I think this is key, knowing what's good advice and what's not. That comes back to the intuitive piece.
Yes.
Really connecting with ourselves on what feels like our truth and what does not.
Yes.
And
I want to also say, for those who are listening, if you feel, oh my God, this seems impossible, I don't like myself. And I know many of my clients, when I say self-compassion or love, they're like, being in touch with your intuition, being in touch with your compassion can seem out of reach, because we have been trained to be on the opposite side of that.
Absolutely.
But it is absolutely available. It just takes some time to reconnect. So I would say, just, again, be compassionate, be patient, and work back to that level where you can connect to your intuition in a very natural way, because this is how you were born.
Yeah.
It is conditioned to.
It is innate.
Yeah.
Yes, it is an innate wisdom we all have access to. We are born with, and we've been socialized away from it. And in fact, I talk about in my book, in a chapter, this journey to self-love, because I grew up hating my body. I mean, I hated it. I despised it. I was told a million things that were wrong with it every single day. This diet culture, there's a lot of shame around my physical appearance. And so part of my journey to self-love, I took a page out of Louise Hay's book, and I started doing mirror work. And I started sitting in front of the mirror. I started sitting in front of the mirror naked every day.
Yes.
And at first it was torture. It was absolute torture. It just felt so icky. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And all the shame stories were there, right?
Yes.
And then eventually it became neutral.
For
time is just this neutrality. And then now I can honestly say I have more days that I love my body, genuinely love my body, than I don't. I can't say it's every day, but that and that took years.
Yes.
But it is this practice of returning to self-love. It's a journey. Don't you think it's a journey?
Absolutely. And I think it's a journey that most of us are invited to embark on. And just some people are at the beginning, they're like, I don't know, this seems so hard. But it's also, I want to encourage people, like, once you get a taste, just a little tiny taste of it,
right?
There's no going back. Because your soul knows.
Yes. Your soul knows that this is what you are doing here. Your soul knows this is, I believe that we come to take the journey back to self-love. I
Yes.
deeply believe that. It's
Agree
part
with
of
you.
this human experience.
Yeah.
And whether people know they're on a journey or not, it's a vital part of what the spirit comes to do.
Yeah. And again, the struggle, I agree, I couldn't agree more. And the struggles, what we call struggles, the challenges are there to help us grow and learn. And if you really think about it, most of the problems, and again, there's people that have, hardship and things that are very hard to even, talk about. But most people's problems are just here.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like as a mental illness, but
no, absolutely.
Thinking that that the way things are shouldn't be. I shouldn't be in this body. I should have a, round butt, no cellulite.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is just a thought.
Yes.
You can be happy and not think about it.
Yes. Yes. It's just a thought. And so it's these cultural messages that have created that thought.
Yeah.
It's that cultural conditioning. So this summer I was like, I am just going to rock my body at the pool. Like, is it what I culturally should look like? No, it's not. But if I don't love this body, who else ever will? Like, how could somebody else love my body if I don't love it? And so my practice was to just rock it, no matter what it looked like, and just practice owning it.
Wonderful. That's the way to do it. And for those listeners that are like overwhelmed with the idea, also remember that you've been inundated with like beauty messages all your life, which could be years or decades. And you need to remake that. So if you feel uncomfortable, you don't like your body, and you're kind of stuck in that loop, change your social media feed completely, unsubscribe from anybody, where it's all about like skinny and this and that. Yes. Follow the body positive movement. You can follow me. I have a lot of people that I follow too, that are people in bigger, larger bodies that are living their lives to the fullest and happy, and they just kind of they stopped worrying.
And often, as you said, those people are actually healthier than the skinny fit people. They are actually healthier. If you were to do blood work and look at their metabolism and look at how their body is functioning, they are actually healthier much of the time. There's this great documentary. Do you know about Embrace?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one. I highly encourage all people to watch Embrace. That's an incredible documentary.
Yeah. And it's out there. I mean, the fact that we have this documentary, there's so much movement in the body positive movement. We are changing the culture. It's going to take some time. We need more people to join us.
Yes.
But even if you're looking at, Athleta, Lululemon, they're now having body diversity in their catalogs. And so it's changing. It is changing. And, it's sometimes a bit scary, but you can turn things around when you follow this. Yeah.
Yes. And this is why I just feel so connected when I meet people like you who understand the road back to intuition, helping people with body positive movement. I mean, you work in this industry where you're helping people return to themselves and return to what it can be to be healthy, not to be skinny. There's a huge distinction there.
Yes.
Distinction. And it's not even always the healthiest to eat the raw food diet or the vegan diet. That's not for everybody. And I think, Ayurveda tells us different body types need different things, right?
Yes. And at different parts of your life, you might need different things. And as we get going older, our needs change. It's very fluid. We're just trying to be like, this is one rigid plan, and it's not going to work, and it's going to make things miserable for you. So let it go. Let it go.
Yes. Let it go. I love it. So what is one piece of advice I love that was let it go, that you would share with our audience and want them to take away? I mean, there's so much more. I feel like I could talk to you for.
I know. So much more to say. I think I always want to encourage people with the first step, become aware, right? This is where mindfulness, if you do yoga, Tai Chi, just becoming aware of the monkey mind and the messages that you are giving yourself all day long. Yeah. Because anybody who's who has some brains will eventually see these are not good messages and they're actually not true.
Yeah.
And so once you have the awareness, it is much easier to change any behavior or pattern in your life.
Yes.
Because it's going to give you a reason, like, okay, this is not good for me. I want to do things that are good for me. So awareness, and of course, always coupled with self-love and compassion.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. What a gift to have you on today. And we're going to do more together. I mean, more
Yes.
will evolve. So this is just the beginning. How can people find you and how can they learn about, intuitive eating and the science behind it, just to out of their own curiosity? Do you have stuff posted about that or?
Yes, I'm active on Instagram. So I post there on all the topics about intuitive eating, self-love, self-compassion. I do a lot of like mind-body posts and very practical tips on self-care. So you can follow me. It's Christina Becker Nourish. So Nourish is the name of my business. And you can DM me there if you have any questions, or go to my website, ChristinaBecker.com, send me a message and email through there.
Beautiful. And may we all nourish ourselves. I mean, we're just not taught to nourish ourselves in this culture.
Yeah.
And that is my wish for all women, that we may nourish ourselves.
Mm.
And if you want to connect with me, I help women access their intuition. And so I'm at Discover Your Wings 33 on Instagram. And then my book is all about my journey to intuition, discovering my wings. And so the work that we're both doing is helping people return to themselves.
Yes.
We help people return to themselves. And I think that, as Louise Hay predicted, we're leaving the Piscean age and we're going to the Aquarian age, which is where we remember that we are our own gurus. We are so powerful. We have the wisdom inside. And you and I are just simply the guides to helping people remember.
Yes, humble guides.
Humble guides. And what a gift and honor that is. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was such a gift.
Yeah, so wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Many blessings.
Bye-bye.